We'd known for a long time that over Christmas, the weekend before Christmas, both Sonic and Mufasa were going to release. They were going to go head to head. And even early on, it looked like Sonic might edge it out domestically, which would be a pretty big win in general. Mufasa is the follow-up to a $1.6 billion movie in The Lion King, which I know you're not a fan of, Jeremy. I'm not a fan of it, but it went on to make a shit ton of money. And the idea that little old Sonic 3, with about half the budget of Mufasa, was going to potentially compete and even beat it on opening weekend was pretty interesting. I don't think we thought it was going to be this bad for Mufasa, but it absolutely is. This was the predictions the week before, a couple days before it released. Sonic the Hedgehog will outrun Mufasa stateside, but the line will roar to a $180 million global opening. Didn't exactly work out that way for Mufasa. Box office, Sonic 3 speeds to $62 million debut. Mufasa gets trampled with $35 million. Now, we thought it was going to be like a $60 million to a $50 million opening. A $35 million opening for Mufasa. Keep in mind, the first one opened to $190 million plus domestically.
Woo!
You're looking at less than a fifth of what that first one opened to. And internationally, where they thought they were going to have much better numbers too, wasn't very impressive for them there either. They thought it was going to be a $180 million global opening. It comes in at 120. Now, Sonic is not released internationally yet. They're not releasing internationally till this week in those other markets, so they don't have any international numbers we can compare to. But domestically, they are getting blown the fuck out. Certainly a lot of competition, though. Sonic did not open as high as Sonic 2 did. It had about 500 fewer theaters and obviously a lot more competition than Sonic 2 opened up to. Impressive numbers nonetheless, but Mufasa, this is miserable numbers for them. Now you are potentially looking at something that could flop if it tracks the same way and doesn't have fantastic holds and doesn't speed up over the Christmas holidays, because this movie needs to hit $600 million just to break even at a minimum.
And this is vindication for me and for a lot of people that saw that first Lion King movie and hated it so much. But of course, it made $1.6 billion. How can you argue with something that makes that much fucking money? This just shows you that people truly did hate that movie. No one walked away from that movie going, I need to see more of this. It obviously operated off nostalgia and a huge marketing campaign. And people went to see it in huge numbers. But now you're seeing like, this is one of the bigger drop-offs we've seen. And what do you think? Like, what do you think the true drop-off could be? Because this thing hit less than 500 million worldwide. Like,
I don't know about that. Like, Christmas is going to tell us a lot. Like, people go to the holidays. Like, there's usually a boost over Christmas Eve, Christmas, after Christmas. There's usually a boost in the box office on those days. So that's going to be a big indicator as well as what happens. And then I think maybe the next week after that is when we really start to see what the legs for both of these movies will be. But, concerning is that international number, the fact that they were so soft internationally as well, because The Lion King made $1 billion just internationally. It had massive domestic numbers. It had huge international numbers. And overall, I would not be surprised to see it out-earn Sonic in terms of the international box office in general. These Sonic movies have never had a very big split. It's usually about the same, like 200 million domestic, 200 million international for something like Sonic. But I'll be interested to see what it does, how it holds. I think the reception of this is better than probably any of the other ones we've seen. We'll see what the international market does with Sonic. But people right now are roasting Disney for this because this is a huge disappointment for them. They thought this is going to be easy fucking money. Just ride on this Lion King IP, come out with this bullshit, $200 million on this, $100 million for marketing. No problem. We'll make a fuck ton of money. And now they might be rethinking that. And this tweet in general is getting destroyed. Walt Disney Studios, the #1 movie in the world, is hilarious and will take you on an epic adventure. Get tickets for Mufasa the Lion King, now playing only in theaters. This is ratioed, and I've seen some community notes kind of come and go on this as well. But the reason it's getting ratioed is because after getting demolished by Sonic, they're going out and claiming, and they are technically right, it's the #1 movie in the world. Because Sonic didn't open internationally yet.
That's it.
That's the reason, right? You're right on that, because Sonic crushed you where it opened domestically. You opened internationally, Sonic didn't. And look at what they're doing, Jeremy. I know you always worry when I go to hidden replies. I've checked all these.
They're hiding this. I haven't seen this.
You haven't seen this?
No, I haven't seen the hidden replies.
Bro, they are hiding almost anything related to Sonic, and they're getting ratioed.
What?
Like, this was hidden when it was like 500 likes, by the way.
Holy.
How can we watch Mufasa when Sonic 3 exists? I don't care. Shut the fuck up, Mickey. Bow your heads low. All hail Shadow. Fuck off, Sonic. Another Shadow gif they hid. Oh, come on. Another soulless live action using a story that probably conflicts with the original. My money has already belongs to Paramount. Right? Like, they're getting destroyed by Sonic memes and Shadow memes, and they're hiding them. Like, think of how sensitive they are. That they're hiding these because they know it's it's such like a bullshit thing to tweet out. It is true. Like, there's nothing factually inaccurate. It is the #1 movie in the world, but it is also the #1 movie in the world in an embarrassing way where they didn't even compete with the thing that's crushing them where they did compete together.
Yeah. This is again. This is why the hidden reply section. All you're doing is compiling all the best comments essentially on a post when you do something like this. But the fact that Walt Disney Studios with their gold check mark is hiding replies from Sonic fans talking about Sonic kicked your ass is freaking hilarious, man. I can't believe that. So this has a total of how many likes on the post?
3.8.
So 3. Yeah,
and 4.3 thousand comments.
And then you saw the top Sonic comment there had 4,400, I think. Yeah. So
yeah. Like these, I mean, the reason they hit him is so they wouldn't get even more ratioed, right? That's part of it as well. Like, all of these were ratioing them at one point in time.
And I got news for you, Disney. You probably aren't prepared for the Sonic fandom because they are fucking wild. Okay,
they're a little weird.
They are not going. They are going to make your life hell for the next few weeks for sure. And if you start hiding their comments, if you keep hiding their comments, they're going to make it even worse for you because the Sonic fandom is very, very vocal and very much is not going to back down at all. They're going to have a damn good time with this one. And yeah, this is going to be fun to watch. So this is the one that originally had the community note on it. I guess they've removed it because, like you said, factually, it is the #1 movie. You know, even though like domestically it got destroyed.
Yeah, like this is a true statement. Now, I don't know if it's hilarious or an epic adventure, right? Those are quotes from very hand-picked, cherry-picked quotes. Like, I could write a negative review and be like, Mufasa is hilarious in how fucking terrible it is, right? I could say something like that. It's critics are calling it hilarious or groundbreaking, you know, things like this. But this is technically a true statement. It does require some additional context, and that's why people are giving them that context, and that's why they're getting annihilated right now. Now, what will happen? We'll see. I talked about it before when we talked about in the lead up to this, right? These movies are vastly different in terms of what they need to succeed. I think Sonic has a budget somewhere around $110 million range, a little bigger than the 80 or yeah, maybe. So a little bigger than the 90 million some of the previous ones were. But if both these movies make $500 million, that's solid. I think that Paramount would be happy if Sonic 3 makes $500 million. It would be a nightmare scenario for Disney. Both these can make $600 million. And it would be a huge, massive success for Paramount. And for Disney, it would be a brutal disappointment and embarrassing.
Yeah, and I mean, if you went to see Sonic, like Sonic 3 is just everything you want in a movie. It's not trying to be anything other than what it is. It's not trying to do anything. It's a straightforward, family-friendly video game adaptation, and that's it. It's not like we're not talking about one of the greatest films ever made or some shit like that. But if you're a Sonic fan, but if you're a Sonic fan, this is literally everything you could have wanted from not only this movie, but the entire franchise, generally speaking. But it knows what it is. It has a ton of self-awareness, and it owns that self-awareness, which is exactly what every movie should be, is not trying to be something you're not. And that's what this movie's being versus, again, I'm not going to see the Mufasa. I'm just happy that because of the previous Lion King movie, 2019, which is one of the biggest pieces of shit I've ever seen, I'm glad that Mufasa is essentially suffering because of how bad that movie was and how badly received that movie was. Plus, you're literally telling a story no one was asking to hear in Mufasa the Lion King with the prequel to the Lion King and apparently changing up a lot of the pre-established stuff within the universe. So this is a perfect example of everything that Hollywood has done for the last decade versus the things they should be doing in Sonic 3.
Yeah, and we'll see. And obviously, they already announced before this movie released that Sonic 4 is in the works. If you watch the movie and stayed for the end credits, you understand why.
Multiple end credit scenes, by the way. If you do go out and see it, it's got multiple end credit scenes.
Well, there's a mid credits and an end credits.
Right.
So yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, both of them are necessary, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, very very similar to the way the second one ended. With the kind of crazy, big, massive fight at the end, and then some additional things in the credits that could get you hyped for the next one.
And I would say, I haven't talked to you about this, I don't think, but like, do you prefer this Sonic movie over the Mario movie? I do. And don't get me wrong, I like the Mario movie. I think there was a perception that it was like one of my favorite movies. Like, the Mario movie was good.
I don't like it. Yeah, I don't love either of them. Mostly because I'm obviously out of the age group that is the target demographic for the movies. Like, yeah, very clearly. But you know, I like both of them fine. I've probably seen the Mario movie a fucking 100 times. So it's tough for me to understand if I'm tired of it or fucking not, or if I fucking like it anymore or not. But I did like Sonic 3. It was fun. I think the action set pieces and stuff like that are obviously far cooler in this than they are in the Mario movie. Yeah. But I think a better comparison would be the first Sonic and the first Mario. Because like Sonic 3, like we had the advantage of not needing to do any of the world building and not need to be introduced. Like, you just get to jump right into the fucking action with the characters that you already know and shit. So it's kind of a different movie comparing this to the Mario movie.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I mean, I like the Mario movie. It wasn't like I was thinking like Mario could have been like a Toy Story level movie, and it just wasn't even close to that type of quality. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot. But man, this one, I've seen it twice now, Sonic 3. So I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. The second time was even better, I think. So yeah, I'm glad to see it succeed. I hope it continues to put up big numbers. Video game movies, if they're done the right way, can actually, change the game. This could be the new superhero phase that we're in, but at the same time, if once Hollywood sinks their teeth into you, you never know. But the thing about that makes the Sonic story so great is how it all started, and how we started out with that horrifically designed Sonic, and the studio did what no studio does. They listened. Like, oh, wait a minute, you guys are mad. Okay, well, instead of calling you names and instead of dismissing your criticisms, we're actually going to listen, and we're going to go back to the drawing board, which is such a rare thing in Hollywood. In general, like even in big business, it's such a rare thing, but specifically to Hollywood, them listening, going back to the drawing board and redesigning this character, and now look where they're at. Now, if they would have never listened to the fans, you would have never gotten a Sonic 2. And yet here we are heading towards a Sonic 4, all because they listened to the fans. So it's a great story, and it's a great, hopefully, trend that gets set moving forward.
That's true. And hopefully it'll go up against Mufasa's dad, the Lion King or something, 3 years from now too. Who knows? Maybe we'll get that.